but I'm better at everything else. No, I'm only kidding. But he's a brilliant school lawyer, and I keep looking back, and my friend in front of me here, I'm sorry I forgot your name, sweetheart, but you so eloquently cited the Supreme Court case and the Lemon Test, and I looked at the Lemon Test, and I know the Lemon Test, and you set forth the issue, Allison, just perfectly like a lawyer would set forth the issue. And I can imagine you arguing before the United States Supreme Court, doing it just that way. But unfortunately, like in all lawyering, there are two sides to everything. And I read, and I debated this with Ron, so two lawyers can debate on the same topic. It talks about Van Orden versus Perry, talks about that very Lemon Test. And the issue there was a 10 Commandments on the grounds of the Texas State Capitol and whether that violated the First Amendment. And the Supreme Court went into a long dissertation about what's called passive monuments, and monuments that by their nature are historical in nature. And then they use words like an impassive or a passive monument, and whether this passes the Lemon Test. And the lemon test is the law. But some things don't pass the Lemon Test, and therefore they're unconstitutional. But other things do pass the Lemon Test and are therefore constitutional. And I believe that this, as in my opinion as a lawyer, this school prayer, as it exists passively on the wall at Cranston High School West Auditorium, does not violate the Lemon Test. That's what I say. The Stone case that you cited actually talks about a 10 Commandments being thrust upon the kids in every single classroom. This is not that case. And in fact, although it's not scientific, every Cranston High School West graduate that I know, I asked about the school prayer. And I will say to you that while it's not scientific, I'd say to you about 40% of them knew where the prayer was. And about 50% of those didn't know what the prayer said. Okay? And unlike the young lady from 1967, the kids are not being forced to read that prayer. And it's not being forced upon them, and it's really, Anne-Marie Macaron said it best, I think you really got to tilt your head to see it. So for that reason, from a legal standpoint, I don't believe that this banner violates constitutional law and the First Amendment as we know it. But the other issues that bug me are the fact that a lot of folks have gotten up and said, well, we're taking God out of it. Well, if we read it, God's not in it. Heavenly Father's in it. So, as usual, the Catholics take the hit all the time. But it's not a Catholic message. It's really a message that is well, I don't know what Islam and Muslim believe in, but I know that there's a lot of religions that invoke a Heavenly Father, whoever that is. And then as to the message itself, I mean, the message speaks for itself. I mean, I'm not going to read it again, but there is no doubt in my mind that it certainly promotes a secular purpose under that Lemon Test, because it's telling people to be good. It really is telling people to be good, and I just that troubles me that we need to eliminate something that tells people to be good. And again, this is just one lowly vote on the school committee, but I personally will be voting to fight the ACLU. However, I want to be mindful of something, and everyone that's wearing that Keep Original banner, okay? I'm a Catholic, and I wear rosary beads around my neck. But, I think if the Jesus that I believed in were here right now, I think he'd tell you all, turn the other cheek and don't attack.
Absolutely.
And respect everyone's opinion.
Right.
And respect what everyone has to say, including these very bright students that have come before us and done that, okay? And that's why ultimately, on a personal basis, I have to vote in keeping the ban.
Yes.
Thank you, Jim.
Mrs. Cohen?
I'd like to start out by, is it Jessica? Frank, you forgot to mention Jessica spoke also. So we heard from four students, and while I do not necessarily agree, I don't have the same opinion you do. This is America after all, and so you have the right to have that opinion, and I can peaceably agree to disagree with you. And I give you guys a lot of credit, and your parents, for raising you in such a way to hold true to your beliefs, as I would hope my daughter would be here tonight. She's only 10, so I wasn't going to let her. But she said, Mommy, I really want to come. And she has that activist spirit. I don't know where she gets it from. And I said, well, what would you say, Abigail? And she said, it's so silly. Just if you don't like it, don't look at it. And I said, I completely agree with you. I said, the first thing I want to say as I sit here tonight is that I truly believe, regardless of one's constitutional ability to say what they want to say, this one individual, apparently, they could have brought this to the attention of the ACLU. For all I know, they're a Christian. For all I know, they sit next to me in church on Sunday. But they just feel so compelled by their constitutional right, as they see it, that they brought this forward. I think that person is a coward. I have been elected, maybe not by the whole city, but by one ward, some of you here tonight, hopefully, that I am supposed to come and speak before all of you in a public manner. Any meeting that we have has a public record, and I, in fact, have to come before you as a public official and tell you how I feel. Really, what I wanted to do tonight was kind of hide in the corner and not have to talk about it. I'm not afforded that luxury as an elected official. I wish that this person had the fortitude to come forward to us as a committee first and maybe write a letter or reveal themselves. Instead, what they get to do, instead of being brave like every single one of us, whether you're for it or against us, and this one tonight came and spoke on record, they get to hide behind the veil of secrecy, and I don't think that's fair. And I find that offensive. Now, there are a lot of people sitting here this evening and saying that by having something up that says God, that it's infringing upon their religious right. I guess what I would ask people is, where does your right to not have religion suddenly begin to infringe upon my right to have religion? Right. I think that's where we're sort of at odds here. It's sort of like that debate that people had about smoking or not smoking. I have the freedom to smoke, but where's my freedom about not having to breathe in your smoke, kind of thing. Look at that. When people also keep bringing up the point of all of these other constitutional cases, what I think people need to bear in mind, and our council has brought to our attention as well, schools are held to a different standard than public buildings. So when we talk about the fact that a monument in Texas can remain in the Supreme Court that has the 10 Commandments on it, it's a different standard when children are involved and school children are involved, because for the most part they're minors. And the courts seem to, in fact, favor those cases where there's schools involved. They say that you can't have these banners up. And my greatest concern, I wish all of you would come to our meeting tomorrow night, because I have the daunting task, along with the other members of the committee, of filling an $8 million budget gap in my budget as a school committee. I have had to go to my daughter and tell her that I've cut her instrumental music program, that I cut her gifted program. Friends of mine, children are going to have sports cut. And as a member of the school committee, I certainly didn't come to debate my religion, but I also didn't come to cut programs. So I guess where I'm sort of at a crossroads right now is where I'm at a crossroads at this point is the fact that I have to consider the fact that we could lose this case. And if we lose this case, while everybody is talking about this pro bono, who is going to raise the money to pay for the bill that we may have? Because face it, people, if we don't win, we will owe the ACLU money. We will have to pay them.
You don't owe money.
We will have, I am speaking. We will then have another bill. And I don't know that we as a committee can do that to the students of this city. So this is where I'm really conflicted as to which way to vote. And the one thing that, above all, that really does offend me, beyond all of this, is when people look at any one of us sitting here and judge us. Because as many of you are quoting from the Bible, judge lest not you be judged. I have to answer to my God in the end. I have to decide which way I'm going